retired officially in 2022 from the Uganda People's Defense Forces, is now a senior citizen who we refer to as retired General David Sejusa, who a decade before his retirement issued to the country a dossier, or a letter, if you may choose to call it, casting a light on what he referred to as the MK project. Therein, he described an inside motive to, bring to the presidency the first son of the country in an attempt to succeed his father in the topmost job of the land. Well, that was dismissed by many people in this country. However, a few months or years ago, we began to see the first son, who is now the presidential advisor on special operations, but also Lieutenant Muhoozi Kainerugaba, take to his Twitter account, which is now X, statements that many perceived as political. And the question that lingered in the minds of many constitutional lawyers was that, does this really, conform to what is written in black and white in our constitution? The bus has ever since, or the train has ever since then left the station, and the movement continues to grow and continues to move forward. Well, as of last week, the movement did rebrand itself to the Patriotic League of Uganda. And we don't know what next for the same organization, but we'll put all this into perspective, viewers, this afternoon. And of course, on your Valentine's Wednesday is a panel of distinguished young people who chose to be here rather than taking their boyfriends or girlfriends out for Valentine's. But yes, they chose to discuss what matters in this country's political landscape. Well, and to introduce them to you, and just in no particular order, is that, yes, let me begin from the kitchen itself. From the Patriotic League of Uganda, the youth mobilizer of Teso region is Patrick Ipalat. Patrick, we're happy to have you.
I'm humbled to be here. Yes. My name's Patrick Ipalat. I mobilize for Patriotic League of Uganda, Teso sub-region. I come from Kapelebion.
Wow, very interesting. Next to Patrick is the only lady on the show, all the way from the National Resistance Movement, MUBS chapter, but also a member of the NRM Youth League. Tracy Mary Atukunda is the name. Tracy, it's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Atukunda Mary Tracy is my name. From Kaburanjinanya Kaware, Rukonohama, Ntungamo district, and part of the NRM Youth League.
Wow, very interesting. On his graduation party, the song that was played was Tuli Yambali Nguli. And he is the 25th Guild President of Makerere University Business School and a strong member of the NUP Youth Wing. Bruno Kamoga is the name. Bruno, we're happy to have you.
Oh, thank you very much, Comrade Kidega. Greetings to our dear viewers. My name is Bruno Kamoga, senior citizen of Uganda and a fresh graduate from Makerere University, or you may say Makerere University Business School. I pursued a Bachelor of Business Computing, and I'm part of the NUP Youth League and one of the people who are fighting hard to change our nation to where it is supposed to be.
Very interesting right there. The last panelist on the show is a software engineer by training, a public speaker, and now what we choose to call him as a political analyst. The name is Mwanje Samuel. Samuel, we are very happy to have you.
Thank you, Moses. I am happy to be here. And to the viewers, we wish you a nice show.
Yeah, very interesting. Patrick, for obvious reasons, I'm going to begin with you. And to the viewer who is out there, they're probably, after this show, they'll be going for a Valentine's dinner with their loved ones. What do you have to tell them about the MK movement, which is now the Patriotic League of Uganda?
Viewers out there, I want you to refer that question all to various formations of political parties. FDC had reform agenda before it gave birth to Forum for Democratic Change. People Power was a pressure group that gave information to National Unity Platform. It is still in evolution where the so-called MK movement, where members sat and they decided to unify as a single spine. if you do recall, when MK project started, there were t-shirts moving around saying MK project. There was MK army. There were Avengers. There were different particles within the MK army. Agoji, women. But all of them were serving one man. All of them had support for General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is our national leader. So we sat down, the SEC sat down, and they came up with a spinal cord. That spinal cord, I remember, was released before the organizing of the Baraza in Teso sub-region. Because MK Army wanted to organize with their leadership. They had already gotten structures. But all of them came and said that we people, we are serving one general. Can we come together, team chairman, can we come together and you have a spine, a single spine?
They are serving this general to what end, to what purpose? These
are people that believe General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is the best replacement of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And they are not just few people, it's a majority. I know you can always see, actually on 17th March, we shall be in Masaka. You're going to see how Masaka is going to be flooded. People always say MK movement, people carry people. It is a very big lie. Young people...
They don't carry, they ferry.
Young people are mobilized. There's a difference of me showing interest in attending your function and I don't have transport or I don't have means of going. And there's a difference of me walking. If someone gives you a lift, that is not ferry. He has showed interest in going. Those people are not paid any money, but it's out of love for the country. Some people would say that they love Uganda more than others because when they see you supporting Kainerugaba, they think you don't love Uganda. But all the young people who support Muhoozi Kainerugaba are young, energetic, learned people that are looking forward in seeing that Uganda does not pour blood in transition. Uganda follows whatever it happens to see that we transfer power to another hands in a very soft landing. And the only person...
Okay. Where does this fear come from? That in the due course of transition, blood shall be spilled? Because I think transition is defined clearly.
You see...
in our constitution, how power moves from one hand to the other. Why the
Moses, I think all of us in this panel we are the senior basukurus of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. All of us were produced under his regime. We have never seen any other president. Maybe if there's someone who is older than that can defend. It is by default that Uganda as a country has been having those wars. She has never had soft transfer of powers. When I speak with my old grandparent, the narrative they give me, it is something that I would foresee if we continue the same way with how you say opposition players and ruling government players are exchanging words like, this is not Uganda. Someone goes and talks bad about the country. You say you love Uganda, but you don't want Museveni. Can you talk about Museveni and speak good about Uganda? If donations are coming from Uganda in the different channels they are coming, why would you go and stop those donations that are coming to a country to help a poor person?
About the NUP leader?
Absolutely. NUP leader has been a champion of dislike, not only Robert Chagulanyi. Also, leaders of a kind of Besije, they love Uganda, but these are same people. When they go overseas, they turn back and they start speaking about Uganda. I think the people who love Uganda are now the cream that is coming out to say that let's be patriotic. That is where that term is coming. Can we be patriotic as Ugandans? I heard you say MK has started mobilizing. It is not mobilizing. We are mobilizing Ugandans to tell them, can you love your country? Can you be patriotic? And such engagements are going to come in institutions, are going to come all over country. We are going to launch it in Masaka on 17th of March. That can Ugandans be patriotic? And is doing as a capacity of the presidential advisor. By general is there by virtue that he's a man who joined the army, he went through all the ranks, he has been in wars, he has been in Somalia, all of us know that. For us in Teso, we are so privileged and he's going to get a very big support in case he comes as a president. Because he's among the generals that helped us fight the LRA war when they almost took over Soroti Flying School. That is where they stopped the LRA rebels who attempted to take over Teso. That is when they repatriated that until, and Muhozi was there that day when the flying school was attacked. So as a Patriotic League of Uganda.
Okay, then just one last question before I move on to the rest is that what do you tell a constitutional lawyer out there that the actions that you've described to us, do they fall within the ambits of Article 208 that established the UPDF and tell us how the UPDF shall act? They shall be non-partisan, which I think to me is the pick out from that article. So are the actions, are the activities of the now PLU, do they fall with, don't they abuse the provisions of the law?
I'm not a legal scholar, neither I am any person who can elaborate much that that answer.
Okay, but can speak about partisanship.
You'd want.
Yeah.
But you see, I think when you talk of partisanism, it is a very broad narrative in my own way. You look at political parties, they are there by virtue that they are supposed to be there. Every political party has its own sidings. Right now, people are confusing Patriotic League and NRM. This is a pressure group, and it is true. People are saying Muhozi should come. Population are the ones that are calling him. He has not announced that I want to contest, but people are telling him, "Can you come?" So I don't know whether it collides with the legal aspect that he's not supposed to really mention, or he's not supposed to contest. But as of now, I've not yet seen him in the ballot. Maybe the time when he comes to the ballot, he could have retired if he's supposed to retire. He would follow the law, surely.
Okay, interesting. Bruno, let me come to you. When you hear Ipalat speaking, you know, he is verbose, he's very confident, the way he portrays the entity of the movement and now PLU. What comes into your mind as a young person about this whole MK movement and PLU?
Well, thank you very much, Comrade Moses. Well, I will be very clear, and I think it is well known to us. We've gone to school. Whatever he's speaking or whatever he's saying, this is scripted. It's a scripture. They are told what to say. So you want, before coming here, he was briefed. He couldn't just come here. I have come to the show just to say this. They know what to say. And what he has said that Moses hasn't come out to say that he wants to contest. It is clear to us Moses is still in the army. And I don't think that he has that knowledge and also the wisdom to lead this country or nation. I'm not speaking ill about the general, but in regards to what we've seen, because I respect General Museveni, who has milked this nation to the extreme. But if at all those people were wise, they would have at least renovated this country the way they take care of their cattle. You've seen General Museveni spraying his cattle during Christmas season, but when it comes to the nation, they're over milking it without renovating it. So General Moses has been given a scripture and he has been thought for by senior comrades like the man, he's called Toyota, this man who has a lot of money. He brings out a lot of money in the bus. So for them, their agenda is already scripted by the big man and he has told them this is what you're going to do. And well, I'll be clear that this is in disguise. It is the same agenda, only that now people have overheard NRM. I'm 23 years, haven't seen any president ever since I was born. But well, people are now tired. You know, when something stays for long, people get tired. They want to see something new, something new. You've seen NUP as a new group or a new political party, and it has impressed very many youth. It has pulled the masses. Now they are trying to see, well, MK, the Kainerugaba name is not appealing to the people. Let us try Patriotic, whatever. I don't know its full name. So they have tried it. Let us see how it will pull the masses. So it's all about bringing something new because that is their art, but the architects are the same, and I don't believe in their agenda because it's full of these guys, and they're going to, I don't know, because they have overmilked the nation, so I don't know where they're taking the nation. But well, this is hereditary politics, and this is not a kingdom. Uganda has a constitution, and we should follow it. There is democracy that is supposed to be followed. However, it hasn't been followed. I wouldn't like to talk about the good and the bad because what is most known to us is the bad, and enough is enough.
Enough is enough. It is all a disguise. Uganda is not a monarchy but a democracy.
And
that's
lastly,
from your
like father, like son. So this is the same thing. The son has learned a lot from the father. There's nothing new.
But then you say that you have great respect and you admire.
Yes, but still we all know. That's why in conclusion I said we know all the bad because it is what has mostly been done.
Okay, fair enough. Tracy, let me come to you. You're from the NRM Youth League. When you look at the MK movement, you look at the PLU now. As a young person in the NRM, what do you make of this outfit?
I thank you, Comrade Kidega. I think the Patriotic League is, they said it is a peer, pressure,
Not a
Pressure group.
peer group.
Not a peer group.
We are not fighting the Patriotic League because we believe it's aiming for the good of the nation and for the good of NRM. It is part of mobilizing the youth, part of it's promoting unity, the patriotism and what. I feel like it is here to correct some of the things that the NRM has not come to. Yes, NRM has done good things, we know. Comrade Bruno knows. There are some good things that NRM has done. And of course, we cannot be perfect 100%. So Patriotic League is here to clean up the dust that has been left behind. That is probably what I can say. We are not fighting the Patriotic League and neither is it fighting NRM.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, from your perspective again, is that maybe I'll just try to expand the question, which is that the actions of the PLU, do you think it threatens the existence of the NRM? Because if you look at the launch of the PLU, it was officiated by the vice chairperson of the eastern region of the NRM SEC, that is flight captain Mike
Voted
Mapula.
countrywide.
Yes. Then you look at the membership; it is being chaired by the MP of
Frank Tumwebaze.
Mawanda,
Yes,
Michael
Mawanda. All these are NRM members of
The
parliament.
ginger guy.
Kabanda is a member of parliament as well.
For Kasambia County,
Kasambia,
yes.
David Kabanda.
So if you look at the PLU,
Honorable Gwang is a minister.
yes. So if you look at all these members of the PLU, or at least those who were there, they are from the NRM. So does that in any way make you rethink about, okay, are we doing things right? Because why do our MPs find it easy to associate with this, pressure group, as you called it? So do you think in the long run it is going to take away something from the NRM?
I think I may say he talked about old wine in new bottles, something like that. It is still the same thing. I do not think there is a pulling of ropes. Just the difference. These people believe in MK. That's why they are believing in PLU. That is, they believe in its ideologies. That's why they are associating with it. That is why they feel like the direction they are taking, it is the same direction, just because the locations are different. They have to make some things a little bit right. That's why they feel like, okay, we can add in the youth in this. We can add in different groups of people. We can now make like parties, what the youth are interested in. I feel like them being part of the PLU is just it's the same line of things. They just are choosing also a right way to continue with, but it is the same thing, just because they are just putting it in a different picture.
Different context.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mwanje, you've heard the two gentlemen and the lady. Let me not put words into your mouth. Let me just hear it from you. What do you make of the MK movement?
Thank you, Kidega. You see, let us first of all address the fundamentals. There is a fundamental question in this country regarding transition of power. That is a fundamental question. And you see, in my reading of things, it is well clear to everyone that President Museveni, one, is not, is not mortal. At some point, by nature or by any circumstance, he has to leave power. So there is a fundamental question we need to answer in this country, and that is transition. But you see, it is the same man, Mr. Museveni, that has failed all the attempts in this country to answer that question on all political forums. You see, in this country, I've had the iPod. I don't know if any of us have heard about it, but we had the iPod. This was an organization. It was an example picked from Ghana, from the man J. Rawlings, who was in Ghana, trying to create a kind of a platform that could bring the government and the opposition league mingle together to discuss the question of transition. Mr. Museveni, on deliberate efforts, failed the organization. On deliberate efforts, they could sit in meetings, agree about certain things. On some things he says, I am not part of that. I am part of this, I am part of this. He went ahead to compromise a few people. He wanted to compromise to the extent that the Honorable Norbert Mao goes into a cooperation with the same man saying that they are discussing the transition. It has been 2 years now. He's the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. We have not seen any major reforms. This is all in the attempt to answer the transition question. Now, I think it has become clear to Mr. Museveni that, well, Ugandans are demanding this. I must provide an answer. And you see, in the way of providing the answer, he has learnt the art of keeping Ugandans under uncertainty. He has kept us under uncertainty. We do not know what is going to happen next. Because when you look at the MK project and you look at the NRM, let us first of all answer the questions, basic questions. Is Museveni wanting to retire? Does he want to retire anyway? That we could create an outfit called the MK or the PLU, whatever name you want to give it, that is questioning the retirement question. That's number one. Number two, some of them are saying they are correcting the wrongs. Now, which wrongs? That they are not criticizing? Because what I expect from my colleague who is saying that they are coming to correct the wrongs, let us have the wrongs cleared out. Clearly, let us have them cleared out. That you see, Mr. Museveni has failed us in regards to human rights. The MK project or the PLU is here to correct the human rights question. Then we shall know that maybe these are their lines of argument. But at the same point, they say they are continuing with the same program. So, I mean, who is fooling who? We need to ask that question. Who is fooling who? But you see, on a lighter note, mine is that this whole thing is about Mr. Museveni. Mr. Museveni is a very wise man. We accord respect to him. You know, you can disagree with someone. I heard you ask Comrade Bruno that you said you have higher respect. Yes, we respect the old man of the nation. But you see, again, you can read out certain things that are not right. Now, I think strongly that Mr. Museveni is trying to give us another outfit that seems to be taking on the mantle and the role to purport to attempt to answer the question of transition through the MK project and the PLU. And you see, I read from the line that Mr. Museveni clearly wants his son to succeed him, and that's okay. But it's okay to wish well for your son. I do not have any, reservation about it. But you see, he wants to portray it in a way that it is more of transferring power rather than simply giving out power. You see, those are two different things. The Constitution speaks about transferring power and not giving out power. But you see, by the unfolding of the MK project and the entire thing, you see it is clearly giving him power, not transferring power. You get the argument, Comrade Moses. So, but Mr. Museveni is a wise man. He wants to portray that there is some kind of democracy happening, that this is some kind of organization that came out, metamorphosed into a political party, which political party is now, pursuing to take power. Yet actually the man is being given power. Because you see, someone going on making political mobilization, the National Unity Platform was stopped to do the same. Is that a fair ground? On arguments that they are, collecting, amassing very many people that could create chaos,
Insecurity.
that could create insecurity. I do not know whether all the people that attend the MK project, are being checked on security purposes. So you see that there's that kind of unfairness in the way things are folding out. And that is what I call giving out power. If by any means this country feels like General Muhoozi should lead it, I have no problem about it. I mean, personally, I have no problem about someone bringing out himself, contesting for power, and wanting, to offer himself as a president. That I have no reservation. We have had the Katumba Oye. The end justifies the means. And the beginning. So whatsoever the end will be, that is not my issue. But my concern is, can we have that fair ground if at all we are saying we are a democratic country? That is number one. Number two, can we really look at the policy program of the PLU if at all it is being clear it wants to give an alternative to this government? Because you see, we shouldn't be taken for granted, Comrade Moses. You listen to the NRM, I love calling them propagandists, because you see, the actual information about in the NRM is known by a few people. That is Museveni, Janet Museveni, Muhoozi Kaineru Gabandi, maybe the son-in-laws. Some few people there. The rest of the NRM cadres are simply giving propaganda because we are living in uncertainty, like I said before. So if we read the PLU as a policy program, let it be clear. It has always questioned the likes of the National Unity Platform for not having a clear agenda. Let them come on a clear agenda. We scrutinize the agenda. Let the players have a fair playground. If at all Museveni wants to answer the question of transition with a genuine heart, clearly. So in my take of things, I see Mr. Museveni on his scripting game, again trying to formulate something that simply seems to be a political wing that would want to challenge power in a very democratic manner, simply for purposes of winning his grants like it has been before. But in actual sense, it is not democratic in its operations.
Wow, interesting. Ipalat, if you hear Mwanje is being to ask the tough questions. And he is saying that, okay, we know that the Democratic Party is a center-right political party. They stand for issues of equal access to education, social rights, among others. We know that, for example, the Labour Party in the UK is premised or was built on issues of the workers, all right, and trying to fight for the rights of the workers. You know that, for example, Chama cha Mapinduzi in Tanzania was built as a socialism political party, all right, a social democratic institution. So, like Mwanje is asking, I'm forced to ask as well that what does the PLU, what does the MK movement stand for? What is your ideology? What do you present on paper to Ugandans?
What do they want to offer?
What's your alternative?
Thank you so much. Maybe to start, Muhoozi Kainerugaba is no longer Lieutenant General, he's a four-star general. Was promoted after being appointed him, if you do remember. The only thing left is we the Ugandans have to promote him to Commander-in-Chief. I mean, that is the only thing left, but it's already a foster general. In case that time comes and he wants to appear in the ballot. Patriotic League of Uganda, I think, like I said earlier on, it's a formation of young people that are patriotic, that really wish Uganda well. We do agree as a pressure group, and that pressure group was still under NRM. I subscribe to NRM. My card is in NRM. And if you're asking about the political party, we still have a very big role to play under NRM. And all people you see that are behind Patriotic League of Uganda are comprising of all political parties, but a majority of them are from NRM. If really we're doing a very wrong thing for the political party, a ruling political party, it has a disciplinary committee. All those NRM MPs, ministers would be summoned. Back to your question. You ask a very important question for all Ugandans, more so the young ones. Young Ugandans, as he has said, really, have failed to understand what is the way forward. But when you look at all the loopholes within the service delivery, we have very good systems in Uganda. But delivering the service to the local person is the one that has become a very big problem. Hindered by a lot of things that we know: accessibility, corruption, misuse of funds. So young Ugandans that have come in the umbrella of PLO, you are saying, why don't we use, because we have seen even the father of Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Yoweri Kaguta, speak about it, that this young man does not tolerate anyone who is corrupt. So people have been picking words of this old man. When you collect them, they carry meaning, as he has said, that the old man we look at is a very old, intelligent man who does not calculate tomorrow or the next day or the 3 years. When you're just starting, you talked of the dossier, the senior citizen released. There has been speculations that Museveni is bringing his son. It is now coming to our eyes, it is coming to be seen that since the son is also ready. So when we analyze the political trajectory of Uganda right now, is Uganda ready for democracy? Because you have been saying we're practicing democracy, but it's not legitimate democracy. We also bring examples. We want to compare ourselves with the US every time. But when you ask a question, as a son of a president ever been voted as a president of the country in any other country than Uganda, that is when you hear that you people are not democratic. Because one Ugandan is saying, I support Kainerugaba. They are saying you're not democratic because you support the son of the president. But these things happen in all parts of the world.
Let me give some information.
Yeah, sure. Yes. It's welcome.
I think on that same effect, it is okay for a son of a sitting president to be a president. That's okay. I mean, we have had the Bush family, we have had the Kennedy family. All these families are in the US democracy.
Even here in Kenya.
Even here in Kenya.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
But the fundamental question
even
is...
Congo.
But the fundamental question is...
Kabila.
Yes.
Or where they beat us, Comrade Moses, is in the fact of building independently democratic institutions. And that's what I talked about. Can we clearly see the fairness in the practice, in the system?
Sure.
I mean, Comrade Ipalat should tell us vividly, is the system
those are
being
the
fair?
aspects young people, some of us, and the majority, have seen in the Kainerugaba's vision. You see, we have been voting people who overtalk When they give them a mic, they want to popularize everything. When you talk about corruption, they say this one, this. But this young man is a very precise president if Uganda would have. Muhoozi works with action, little words, lot of action.
Okay.
Under pressure behind him.
It is not pressure that you cannot ascertain pressure that you've not seen. Pressure, you can only ascertain it when it's incertain.
Yeah.
But we don't see that pressure,
Okay.
where it comes from.
Fair enough. Just to me, to get to the issues that matter to the ordinary Ugandan out there, their access to education, their access to healthcare. All right. What is your strategic policy agenda on how to address the question of access to education, access to healthcare? You know, and by this I mean affordable, quality education, affordable, quality healthcare. What is your alternative proposal?
I think my sister tried to touch on it, that there are some things NRM, where we subscribers failed and we are demit. And we would not wish to find another person coming to iron out the issues that he has been seeing data in the house. We wanted someone within the house. So that is why we are saying, it is true, Uganda is lacking behind in education, health, in very fundamental aspects. So the young people that are within the Patriotic League of Uganda are saying that, why don't we, as Ugandans, use the same broom, not from the neighbor, within the house, to come and sweep the house. Some people say that we need the old broom. The old broom has swept all the corners. But we want a new broom within the same house to come and sweep all the house, and we start moving in a new way. There is no other person that can have that those problems. Those problems, all of them, we believe they had to
You still haven't told us crystal clear how you intend to address the issue of education,
The agenda.
the issue of healthcare.
You
Is
see,
it
when
about subsidizing education? Is it about government nationalizing
It is about
the
bringing
education
you see,
sector?
I want you
is
to
the same
agree.
house?
I want you to
You're
agree.
speaking like you're using, yes, very good political approach, but
I want
the
us
viewer
to
out
agree.
there wants to hear
As a
clear
Ugandan
solutions.
out there watching, that
Are you going to create more national schools? Is that part of your agenda?
we already have very many schools.
But in what state are they?
That is why we are saying we already have a lot of schools in Uganda. I would say almost every sub-county has a secondary school now. And that is the manifesto of current NRM ruling party. For us, we are saying that it is by virtue, one time, one day, the current president would decide to resign and say that, who can take over? We need someone who knows that how has Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, how has he been handling this thing?
Okay,
So
fair
by
enough.
saying this, by answering your question, we are going to use the same ideology that NRM has been using, but we are going to change it partly by implementation and eradicating corruption. Because all these things are good. You find that they are building a very big school of 2 billion or 20 billion
But corruption.
in Bulu. But by the time it reaches there is kickback.
Yeah.
The school that you're going to see a school of 2 billion when they are released 20 billion. That is where our target as young people, and all of us here who are saying, government has set up a anti-corruption unit. No one has ever reported, but you find someone right now, if they catch you, you're not saying, said I found all of us are corrupt, and we need to accept that. Can we clean our hands before we say that the government is dirty?
Fair enough. Bruno, if you look at the Honorable Jimmy Luanga of Njeru Municipality, you look at the Honorable Twaha Kagabo of Bukoto South. These are all NUP members of parliament. They have ever since publicly become associates of either the MK movement or, in fact, the NRM itself. Does this speak to the crack within the NUP?
Well, in response to that, it is...
Or is it us becoming to actualize the actual strength of what we are dismissing?
No, there is no strength of what we're dismissing, but I'll be clear. You'll notice that there were very many people that came in 2021 when the elections were loading, or in 2020. Those who were fighting for the NUP cards because they knew that it was the trend, or it was the new political party that had masses, and it was all over the nation. It was popular, or it is popular. You'll find that very many people came, but not everyone who came to be part of us is part of us. You'll talk about Kagabo, that the so-called Twaha Kagabo. Actually, we are neighbors in Rengo, because he's from Rengo, Bukoto South. He is not a NUP, but he just came to find a way through to enter parliament. And you'll find that these are people who have no clear agenda in regards to politics and change. These are people after themselves, but not after the nation. If I told you to see Twaha Kagabo, there is nothing he has done in the constituency. Totally nothing. So these are people, in Uganda they say, kubukira etokota. Sorry to go in that language. Yeah, for them they're just, what is the trend? They're not about the change. They're not about being patriotic. They don't have patriotism in them. The so-called Injeru MP, they're in the same category. NUP as a political party.
Secondly, yes, as you respond, also just evaluate what they stand for. You've heard what they stand for, and from someone who sits in that chair, from that perspective, do they stand for what Ugandans desire?
It is very hard to convince me that there is something they're going to change, yet they have failed in the last 38 years. Find it here that there is no big difference between the MK movement or the Patriotic League, whatever they are calling it. There's no much difference from the NRM, because it has the same architect, just like I said, because you can at least witness, Comrade Moses, that you've seen whatever has been happening. We've discussed here, you'll see that the people who have come out to advise and also help General Muhoozi to push their agenda are the same people who have been part of NRM. So these are not different brains. We are just renewing something that has always happened, or that has happened for years. 38 years of ruling and also governing the nation. You failed to implement.
We now have lots of
you failed to implement, and you're saying that now we're bringing.
What I'm saying, the two MPs that have joined us are also adding firewood.
They're adding fire. No, actually, you'll find that Twaha Kagabo can no longer go to Bukoto South. He doesn't, because he's not from there. He's already there in Nansana. He cannot go on ground. And once he calls for a gathering in Bukoto South, people will not turn up unless you turn up to chase him. So they have no influence in their constituency.
We have had meetings in Masaka.
Rejected from his
He has been disowned from the constituency.
His home in the village.
Unless he goes there at night and leaves very early in the morning. When people are not awake, yes.
Sure.
Yes, because now I'll give an example. There's a Lord Councillor, the Hakim, Honorable Hakim Saula. He's a Lord Councillor at City Hall. He's from Bukoto South. He's the only person who is appearing, and another guy called, I think is called Chagulani or Sentamu. One of the people who want to come for the NUP tickets in 2026. Those are the only people I'm seeing having activities there, and they are welcoming people, because Twaha Kagabo has failed them. Yes, he's always doing his doctor work. They were using. So, no, NUP welcomed everyone in 2020 or 2019, the road to the 2021 elections. We welcomed people because we needed them to see who are those to help us. But along the way, we've discovered that this one is not part of us. And you've seen the various changes, because political parties, they have a process, gradual process. You've seen that the way NRM started is not the way it is right now. They lost track along the way. But for us, we are still on track by eliminating those who are not supposed to be part of us, because our agenda is clear to change the nation to where it is supposed to be.
Then you had their agenda, what the PLU stands for. What do you have to say?
It is nothing, my brother. It is nothing. That just like I said, that there is a scripture. It is scripted. This is what you're supposed to say. When they ask you this, say this.
But
it is what my brother is saying.
I'm here with my head.
It is, yes, because you're trained to, you're trained what to speak.
And cram this
Machine learning.
But there's no way you can convince a reasoning human being.
You've heard what he has said, that their entity intends to deal with the issue of corruption, which I think we agree as it in this country. Isn't that something that Ugandans would want to hear at this point?
Well, I'll give an example. There's this minister, is he called Lugolobi?
Yes.
The one who was in prison.
Of finance, yes.
Yes. What has happened after? Has he been charged? Or when he went to prison, or when he was taken to prison, what happened after?
But at least Ugolobi was even taken to court. But the likes of the Right Honorable Speaker were also in the same scandal. We shouldn't shy away from
the Prime
speaking
Minister.
about them.
Yes,
they have not even been brought to court.
The Right Honorable Nabanja. All those people have been involved in these cases of Mabati thieves.
But where is the presumption of innocence enshrined under our laws that anyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty? So until the courts of law find them guilty, what we have is mere allegations.
But do we have the courts of law?
We have the challenge that the commander is one who is taking over all the arms of government, the executive, judiciary, and the legislature.
But I think that is how hierarchy works.
But you cannot dictate. We are not now. We're talking about dictatorship.
When you're here, you subscribe to NUP. At a certain point, you accept His Excellency Robert Sentam, as you people call him. Chagulanyi is a very serious dictator.
How?
If given power now, by his actions he has already portrayed.
For example,
have you seen how the central, how do you call them, your SEC member, Matthias Mpunga, the one who is heading Central Region?
What have they done?
You're not following how he was pushed out.
Pushed out how?
And after him being pushed out, he blocked mobilization from Central. Oh, you're not updated within your party.
The Honorable Matthias Mpuga is the Vice President in Uganda region.
Yes.
He is the former leader of opposition, and we've exhibited a lot of democracy showing you that we are passing on leadership from Mpuga to Honorable
head of mobilization. So, head of mobilization, who is the brother to Chagulanyi.
Yes.
Nyanzi. Chairman Nyanzi. Had organized a mobilization in Masaka. Matthias Mpunga stopped.
He never stopped. I think there was.
You see, let me give Ipalat the right information. You see, anyways, we can always have these back and forth arguments about whatever is happening in which party, whatever is happening in which party. To me, that is not. I mean, that's politics anyway. But they are fundamental things. But if I may answer that in regards to politics, you see, Honorable Chagulanyi is on record instructing the Honorable Matthias Mpuga to inspect the Kunga program in Masaka. He's on record. So he's the one that assigned the man the responsibility to inspect. So when the man inspected, he said there is an issue we need to address. So the program was put on hold. So it is, you see, but people have, politicizing everything.
Sure.
That, the man was, after being put off the low position, so he's now, being fought. That's politics, comrade.
And assumptions.
That's politics. We can always play that politics. The fundamental question is about structures in this country. Do we have democratic structures in this country? If Comrade Ipalat says they want to fight corruption, you see, corruption is not some feature that is standing along the lines, it is swinging. No, these are things that are emanating from our systems. We know the corrupt people. What are the systems doing about them? You see, you want to dismiss the fact that the Honorable Matia Kasaija is on record. He's the Minister of Finance, saying he simply saw the iron sheets in his compound. I mean, Comrade Moses, let us be genuine. From. Is there something to interrogate about that?
There is.
Was the man interrogated anyway? And that's why I'm asking that, when you're talking about the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, I mean, it's okay. You're a constitutional student, and I give you the autonomy to liaise in your constitution the way you want. My point is about the actions that the constitution speaks about. Are they put? I mean, is the black and white ink put in action? Those are things we need to interrogate. So when you say you're going to fight corruption, the general and the presidential advisor is not going to act by, ticking and, crossing. He's going to work with institutions. If he's still going to work with the same failed institutions, he's doomed at the start. And that's the question we need to interrogate.
And I think that's where I bring in Tracy. Because Tracy, the questions being put here somehow find themselves back to the ruling party in power. Of course, I am not saying that you speak for the party. I am not saying that that here you have the, should I use the word locus, that you speak for the party, but you are a member, and somehow these questions must find answers within your political party. They are saying that they are coming up because issues like corruption have not been dealt with by the NRM.
Yes.
Mwanje is saying, and Bruno here, that the issue of corruption has completely failed. You failed, like the NRM has failed to deal with it. So as youth in the NRM, are these conversations that you have within yourself, so that, guys, the party that we belong to is facing a lot of criticism out there on issues of corruption. What should we do about it? Should we begin to, take more action? I don't know.
Yeah, as I said, NRM party has done things. My brothers do not want to admit to that, do not want to give it attention. But it has done some things like security that are valid, that we can see. Now, corruption, as he said, it really needs a system. You cannot, they are dealing with a number of things. And of course, they have talked about it very many times. And now, the PLU feels like, okay, if you have done something and things have not been worked upon well, we can create systems, we can do something about it. Them talking about it does not mean they are not thinking of the strategies to put it on table. They are saying, yes, we are talking about corruption. It is the topic on table. Yes, if it is the topic on table, how can we use, where do we start from? Where NRM has stopped, where can we start from to at least do something, to at least create the systems, to at least create the right protocol needed to rubbish off the corruption units. And they are also, as I talked about, the mobilization of the youth. They're bringing the youth into the political spaces. I remember the NUP, that is one of the things it was fronting. Yes, they feel like, okay, NRM has been to a certain age group. Now, can we also bring in the PLU to at least bring the youth on table? Because, okay, there is the Youth League and the Women League. This is another league that is bringing up the patriotic youth that have the love for the country, such that these youth exactly who understand the patriotic beat are the ones to know what to fight for in the corruption unit, are the ones to put something on table, the ones to organize. They're like, okay, we are going to use such a system, such a criteria to fight the corruption. I feel like, yes, we all we are not perfect. NRM is not perfect as a party, just like NUP or any other party is not perfect. But we can as well, with time, we learn. Every day is a learning day. It has Patriotic League has learned that I have to do something.
Bruno mentioned it earlier on that 38. He said it 38 years down the road. You're still learning? Yeah, feel.
Yes. Every day is a learning day. Even if you're 70, you learn a new thing each day. We are
That's true.
Yeah. So I feel like being 38 does not stop us from learning and does not stop us from doing something new for the country.
That's true. Then lastly is that, yes, we agree corruption in this country is that one thing that we must deal with. But earlier on you mentioned that there are certain wrongs. It was mentioned in passing that, NRM has not done well in some areas. So besides corruption, what else do you acknowledge and say, I think in this area, we have really not done much?
I would really not want to be too much in that. But as a Ugandan and a patriotic lady, I feel like, yes, some things have not gone right. And not that NRM does not want to do them or the party in power does not want to accomplish these things. Just because there is a lot on table. This is a very big country. It has very many people. We cannot deal with everything at once. Yeah, and I feel like answering the question, issues of health, issues of education, as I have said. He said there are very many schools, I admit. But if these schools are there, UPC has started to...
UPE.
Yeah, sorry, UPE, sorry, has started to deteriorate.
Faded.
Not really
Just
faded as
faded.
much, but not really faded as much. But every parent is going to start saying, I want my kids to go to private schools, which are really for the, I don't want to say planned kids, but for the people who have been prepared for. So I feel like that there's too much costs in schools and the health sectors, the transportation sectors. I feel like some things have not really been to the standard that we want, have really not been to the like what Ugandans can manage, that is not going to overexploit the Ugandans. And some things those are the things that have to be improved, that PLU is bringing to the table and is saying, yes, where NRM has stopped, we can at least add something and improve, such that when other political parties are coming into power, they find it smooth.
Wow. Well, viewers, in the studio this afternoon is a lot of truth-telling. People are taking concessions, but also there's so much to learn. And we're glad that you joined us this afternoon. We are taking a short commercial break. Don't move a muscle, and see you after this.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create, and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices, and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and a proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
We'll be back from that short commercial break. Well, we shall just continue from where we stopped. And Mwanje Samuel, I'll just begin with you. Is that if you to track back, in terms of historical times, you may remember that General Tumukunde at one time, when he was a serving military officer, he made statements on radio and he found himself in the cold cells of Louisiana. General David Sejusa forced himself into exile after making certain political comments for alleged fear of persecution. He had to flee the country. I don't know if it were some other serving military officer doing what the first son is doing, would the story have been different?
And the answer is obviously yes.
Why?
I mean, because like I've told you, maybe just shortly before I even come to that, let me just give an interjection to what my sister is, being afraid of attacking directly. You see, you're questioning both of them in regard to service delivery in this country.
True.
And their rhetoric in their phrase of start is that as a patriotic Ugandan, it is the sacrament of Mr. Museveni to sing that, the 10-point program. It's patriotism is on number one. And lucky enough, I attended one of those, Chaka courses, by the way, for your information. And none of these guys, I do not know. They might not have attended. I am part of them. I attended. I have a certificate. And I know the doctrine. I know how we used to sing that morning, afternoon, and night. The 10-point program. So I really know these things. But you see, as you advance in life, there are certain things you make clear view of. When you ask them about service delivery, she says corruption is the bigger one. Then you be like, is there any other things we can look at? Then she's like, anyway, education, we can look there. Health, we are not. I mean, she's tackling the entire general life of any Ugandan. And before we know it, we shall have entangled the entire country and its service delivery, which is really in miserable state and is questionable. So I think for the young Ugandans there, the earlier we admit, the earlier the better for us. You see, Comrade Moses, I want to again emphasize, and I have been on this very show and said the same, that the breakdown of structures and the lack of independence of institutions in any country is a dilemma. Regardless of how fantastic you can build the country to be, if all works in favor of a certain family or individual, at the displeasure of that family or that individual, the country remains in ruins. That's a fact of life. That is what history has taught us. And these are the things we are crying that need to be interrogated as early as yesterday. We have examples at our exposure. We have Libya. If we are talking about infrastructure, if we are talking about service delivery, Libyans 10 years back were at the peak of life. But just after the monarchy of Gaddafi fell, you do not want to understand what happens of Libya. So these things we are talking about, the question of having the independence in the country, that's why I gave him information. That you see the difference between the Museveni family and the Bush family is that they are operating under different democratic spaces.
Sure.
Those countries, however much democracy is evolving, have managed to go on answering their internal questions and have stabilized over time their democratic spaces. That you see, you can be Bush Jr. and you fail in an election. And people will not be beaten. And military will not be everywhere. The struck will not happen, as the saying of the city nowadays. But let that happen here in Uganda. I mean, the sun is running out on mobilizations. The counterpart, who is the Honorable Chagulani, has been stopped. Is that fair ground? If we are to talk about it. So it brings me back to what you have asked. You're asking that if that same thing happened, or if it were another military serving officer, what would have happened? I think your guess is as good as mine. We all know. They would either be in jail, they would be demoted. I mean, and let them there try. I think you see, there's a contention that is happening of late. And you see, between General Tafide and MK. I don't know if you have been following that contention.
Maybe you could just highlight it for us.
Yes, there's that contention. You see, the man is like, is against that. He's like, no, this man cannot, take us generals, what? They are trying to question. Actually, he's rising through the army. The man said...
He said he does not oppose General Muhoozi, but he's not part of the PLU. He specifically supports NRM and the president of the country, but he's not part of PLU and he does not fight PLU.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean,
I think there is no... they are not contradicting anyway.
I mean, I am giving you contradictions.
Me not supporting you, because right now is a minister serving under NRM. I don't think he would say, I support NRM, and again, I support this and this. He would say all of it at once. There's a lot of politics that happened behind there. If you realize last month, the MK movement by then stormed Mitoma, where General Otafire comes from. And it was a very big turn-up that he didn't expect. So, in a political ground, he spoke that in his political constituency, that since I know you people, maybe back in his mind, you people like Kainerugaba, I do not support him as a person, but I support President Museveni. Of course, even right now, if Museveni is in the ballot, he's not going to share ballot paper with Kainerugaba. They will never share. Anyone who wants to tick Kainerugaba will first have to tick Museveni. Then, when Kainerugaba comes in, he also ticks in case he comes. But he also...
But then, if I could ask a simple one. If just in case, as you state, the MK movement wants to rectify whatsoever is happening within the NRM that is not right, could there be a possibility that they could both be on the same ballot paper?
No.
Why?
The problem is, you're saying, we're not... Actually, by the time we started, all of us we started by appreciating the old man of the country.
Who appreciated me?
Don't contradict yourself. You really acknowledge that Museveni...
Appreciation and respect are different.
Different things.
Yes, because for me I was raised a respectful man. So it is different from appreciating.
Okay.
Yes.
In my perspective, when I respect you, I appreciate you.
So okay. Well, let me just a simple. So do you respect the honorable chairman?
Sorry?
Do you respect the honorable chairman?
I do respect Bobby Wine.
You appreciate
him.
I do respect him. And as well, I can appreciate Bobby Wine in a way.
Yes, you can
His evolution is inspiring. Anyone would wish to be.
That's the problem of having a scripture. You might end up contradicting yourself.
But you see, Comrade Moses, Ipalat is interfering in my time. But you see...
No, okay, maybe just allow him to finish, then
okay. I have to defend myself. It was my time.
Yes, it was your time. The information is taking It was your time, but you're misguiding the audience. Again, I think the word MK should now shift from your mouth to PLO.
But you're putting on an MK shirt. It's hard for us.
Yes.
So we can't
this was our former brand.
And you're putting it on, so it is very hard for us to think the other way.
We use it in any occasion. Now, Mr. Mwanje is bringing internal things that he also does not know, but he assumes. It is very true that if NRM has failed in a certain way, there is no way MK will come to implement, to iron out what they have seen is wrong when they don't have a structure. We know you people in the opposition are very thieves of. Whenever you see something that Museveni is planning to do this, you put it in your manifesto. That in 2026, we are going to do this in your manifesto. So, MK Revolution, people who love him are saying, you can either be in NRM. And more so, I think my sister Tracy would be the best answer to this. You see, we are very frustrated NRM people, young people, that have passed our useful stage without NRM Youth League structure. And you find that these people are not even willing, I think, even to carry an election.
What does your friend head?
And also,
what does your friend head? I thought he heads the NRM Youth structure.
Which friend?
Maxon.
Maybe Tracy.
As of I know, Gaddafi.
What does Maxon head?
No, Gaddafi is the current head.
Chair. And
he's
past the age.
What about Maxon?
He's the aspire.
No.
Comment was my time is being interfered in seriously.
Okay, sure. Okay, Ipalat, just in 30 seconds, so we can.
So that is the frustration. That's what I'm saying. You speak what you don't know what is happening inside the house. The frustration that you see NRM young people that are now saying that we are looking at Muhoozi as a messiah that is going to lead us because we have already seen you're almost crossing the dam, but you only have that person that is getting old, and we're looking at an energetic man who is going to pull us and we cross over.
For how many
all
years?
those things.
Fair enough.
A very sweet wine is the oldest.
No, for how many years is it going to lead us to that?
Yes,
Anyway,
Mwanje, you have 2 minutes because you had actually.
But you see, my entire time was being consumed by simply praising MK. And that is not the point where we're at. I mean, they came in to give information. Me, I had actually simply highlighted a spark. And I'm like, I mean, let's give a look there to see what will happen. But you see, again, in the same event they are talking about in Mitoma, it is on record that the Deputy Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, left House of the Business to go and attend a function.
He was in a burial.
I mean,
he was in a burial in Dokol. I mean,
it is on record.
Madam,
it is for your information to check out. But me, I simply
come again with that.
No.
The Honorable Thomas
It's
Tayebwa
misguiding.
was in Mitoma. On the same day MK was there, he left business of the house to attend that function in Mitoma.
He had a burial.
To attend MK's function.
He left from Northern to Mitoma.
Whatsoever the
On a
case
flight.
is, he left
He was
out
in a
of the
burial of the
business.
late Matt.
Your point
But you
being
see,
that
the point being that this is a man who is supposed to be looked at as a neutral figure. In any case, he's the
is his
Speaker of
constituency.
Parliament. He's supposed to guide.
He's a member of Parliament.
but he was not in the house at that time.
He left business of the house
Yes.
to attend a function.
So are you saying that the speaker should also be neutral when outside the house?
But living, before I know he comes.
Speaker,
Yes, I know he comes from
member of
exactly.
Parliament inside a political party.
But that was not.
His neutrality
Is
is
Mitoma.
only when he's chairing a parliamentary session.
And that's what I'm
comes from
saying.
Mitoma.
And that's what I'm saying.
But outside
Comrade
that,
Moses.
he's free to do partisan politics.
Listen to this. I am saying the man left business of the house to
That was
attend a
happening
function.
that day.
It was happening that day. He left business of the house to attend a function.
The day-
And that's where I have issues.
Maybe the speaker was chairing that day.
I mean, house of the business was left
let
to
me-
attend. I mean, my words are clear.
Moses.
and I'm not
Moses,
contradicting them.
No, first wait.
Mwanje
Yeah?
should
So
not
let me finish
First
my
wait,
point. Let me finish my point. You see, it is in our DNA and setting to defend our sides. Anyhow, that's okay for me. But you see, the main important point we should pick from this, Moses, is shall this country go back to the drawing board and we look at our institutions being built independently, acting in independence? Because you see, I give such a point that the speaker was at a function of MK in Mitoma, and it sounds, casual. I mean, it sounds casual. But you see, that in its own way is communicating something that we need to look at keenly. It is communicating something. I am telling you that if it were another military serving officer, I mean, your guess is as good as mine of what would happen. So however much the PLU might have a good intention, by the way, I have no issues about the PLU coming to put things right. I think Ipalat should not quote me wrong that I have ill intentions about this. I mean, I have any good intention for it. If at all it is putting something in our country right. My point is, as long as it is going to operate on the same systems built by the predecessor, systems that have failed us, systems that are corrupt, systems that are acting impartially, systems, that
Unconstitutional.
are looking at a certain, hierarchy of sort of, doing things, it will fail from the start. This country, if you want to fight corruption, I am saying start with the building blocks. This country must look at itself and build building blocks that are independent of the president. I think that's my point for me.
Can you allow her to just
It's
give
okay.
information?
Point of information. I feel like these two people are different just because they are from the same family. Now, what would you be saying, my brother, if Muhoozi Kainerugaba had come as the next NRM candidate, directly as the next NRM candidate? I feel like these are two different
So what
things.
is he right now?
PLU.
What is
There
the
is a
difference?
difference
He's
between
leading a
PLU
pressure group.
and NRM.
But you see, Moses, that's why I
He's
asked,
just affiliated.
that's why I asked that who is fooling who in a very good faith. Because if you say Moses Kainerugaba is PLU, is
No, my
not
question
NRM,
is, what would you be saying right
she's
now?
the same
if-
person saying she's NRM. I think PLU affiliated now. I don't know how they define it. He has said is a NRM cadre, is PLU. I mean, I don't want to interrogate that semantics. I don't want to interrogate that semantics. We are old men. I mean, we are old men. However much we have been born under a long-lived regime, but we are old men right now. We can discern things. The fundamental question is, I don't judge PLU. Let us give it space to operate. My point is, this country must build independent systems. If PLU wants to succeed in its manifesto, it should first of all advocate for fair ground. Whatever is opposing it, let them have fair ground. Let the Ugandans, let the population that is hearing me today have, their autonomy to decide in issues. I mean, let us see that, fair ground in all this.
Fair grounds like Bobby Wayne should be allowed
Exactly.
to traverse his
Exactly.
constituency the same way.
Exactly. The same way
the
Moses is
PLU
doing
is
his.
allowed.
But you
Okay.
say-
There
whatever
shouldn't
he
be
does.
favoritism.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
PLU does not go
So
to
therefore,
official.
let me conclude in a
Hold up.
second.
I have to bring in Bruno, yes.
Therefore, we shall be able to tell that PLU has good intention from the father.
Okay, fair enough. Bruno, I want to come to you. And the question of the youth population. The NUP ran its previous general election on the narrative of, the young people support us. And I think it was evident. All these young members of parliament, I think the honorable, this gentleman I see with always, the MP of... what's his name?
Kasanda.
Yes, the young gentleman. So anyway, the
Honorable
point-
Kabuye Frank.
Kabuye Frank, yes.
Kabuye Frank.
So the NUP ran on the narrative of, we are a young political party with young membership. And Uganda's demographic is clear on that matter. But then if you look at the LPU rather, they're attracting, young people as well. You look at Ipalat and the rest. Don't you think that the NUP is in the long run going to lose that steam of boasting to have, the young population support it, and they are going to move to PLU as it is being seen here?
Well, just like you've seen that they have changed from MK to Patriotic whatever, they have made some research. What do the people want? Or in the political arena, the current political arena, what do the people want to see? They have seen Mr. President, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He has attracted very many youth. So they are copying the same system to see whether they will attract the same masses. But you've seen that right from the MK movement, they have attracted a few whose agenda is to get money because they have the money. We cannot deny the fact that MK movement is different from the NRM government. These are the same drivers of this nation. So they have tried the same system. However, it hasn't worked out well.
They have money. Where does the money come from?
From taxpayers' money. You'll see that they have failed to attract the masses that they expected. Why? They have discovered through their research that the name Muhoozi Kainerugaba is not appealing. Whoever is associated to Muhoozi Kainerugaba will not be respected in one or the other. Why? Because of the actions of that personality. Now they're trying to bring in other individuals, the senior men. You've seen General Kale Kayihura, who was imprisoned over issues that you well know, if at all you've been following. And my brother and sister, you know the system. There is no way General Kayihura would come out to stand in with Muhoozi if at all he doesn't have the orders from the father of the son. So I want us to agree that this is the same movement, and well, from the name that is not appealing to people's ears, they are transferring to the disguise of patriotic whatever. But well, these are different personalities, and there is what they call favor in politics. We cannot deny that. You'll believe that the man, Mr. President, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, has opened eyes of many. He has favor. Living alone his career as a musician, now he has transformed. He's a living testimony to many. That alone makes him different. But there is no way that you're going to convince people that a son who has been brought up under a certain system that hasn't changed for the last 38 years, that he has something to change. in this nation unless you haven't been to school, unless your agenda is not to change this nation. But for us who have been in school, we've studied. I studied European history. The last king of the Bourbon monarchy was Louis Philippe in 1848. There's a statement that was already set in examinations. They learned nothing and forgot nothing. I don't think.
Discuss.
I don't think. Yes, I don't think. I don't think Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the so-called general, as is designated, I don't think he has learned from the failures of the father. And well, I will transfer the same question to my brother and sister to see the factors that led to the collapse of the Bourbon monarchy, and also in regards to Uganda's system. What are the failures that have been there, and to what extent have they been improved? That question goes to you, and mine is to conclude now.
Wow, interesting. But just before I let you off the hook, is the question of the youth population. Aaron, isn't the MK movement, the way it is branding itself as, you know, attracting young people, doesn't that pose a threat to the political life of the NUP?
There shouldn't be any threat because our agenda is clear, to change the nation, and their agenda is to renew the dictatorship and unconstitutionalism that they have been running, just in this case of another name. For the youth who know what the nation wants and where the nation should be and what we should change in our nation, will remain on track. And that is me and other people that belong to the new Uganda that we're talking about. And for the issue of the youth, unless for them, those so-called youth who will run to the patriotic movement, whatever it is called, unless for them the agenda is money, because you've seen them splashing money. But in terms of change, I don't think that the thoughtful ones will join them.
Fair enough. Ipalat, any responses?
Maybe I may not have to respond, but I just want to enlighten my brothers. They are not really much informed on what happens
On the birthdays.
possibly. You may call them birthdays, but they are
Political rallies.
not political rallies.
Giving back.
To my brother Bruno, you see, why we want to differ from ideology of starting up new systems, rather updating them, it is evident to the previous regime. Me, I personally believe that NRM erred in a certain time when it came to power by removing all systems that were built by Obote, rather than making developments within them. When I was growing up, cooperatives were very big source of money. Someone will tell you I was educated with cotton, with coffee, because they would collect all their harvest and they sell it wholesomely. And also privatization. When UEB was the one managing power was affordable to everyone. But when they privatized it and they brought Umeme, everyone is crying.
Who did that?
This is what I'm telling you. You've said.
Yes, you're informing
said,
us, and I would like to listen from your mouth. Who did that?
I think I'm the one trying to tell you.
Yes.
Where I think NRM could have erred, and why Patriotic League would come and make things that, yes, we have heard this cry. It has been from everyone. You see, for us young people, we don't need to look at what happens tomorrow. These old people, as my brother said, that one time when they either by nature, they may leave us. How are they leaving us? As a country, right now, the question that is there is transition. How do you want us to transfer this power to another power? Do we want a person who is going to come and shut everything down and restarts? Is that what we want? Don't we appreciate that there are some things that are happening in Uganda that just need polishing? So why MK has come in is people are the ones who are even saying MK should come.
Which people?
We are very many who are saying, now since Musea has grown old, can we have this young man who who can push this government, but at least, you see it happened in, when it happened in Kenya, it didn't happen the way it's going to happen in Uganda. But people thought that Kenyatta would not leave power.
Was Kenyatta a military man?
No, he was not.
In Uganda, we have fear.
It depends.
We have fear of the guns.
That is where I had a background of telling you that, you see, there has never been the transition of power has not been so soft in Uganda. We have a very different history with Uganda. You see, with Kenya, when you're in Kenya, there's a unifying factor. When you're in Tanzania, there's a unifying factor. And in Uganda, we lack a lot. When I speak, they will say that's a Teso. So we need to say that who is this person? Who is going to cooperate with all ethnic groups that have failed to come as one? Because, this is something that is happening. Let
me give you information just in a few seconds. If you want to know any nation in the East Africa here that plays its politics on tribes and ethnicity, it is Kenya.
Okay, what I'm saying, you're missing the point. My point is a unifying factor. When you're in Kenya, from the coast up to the central, from east to west, they have Kiswahili as a unifying factor. That is what Obote tried doing it here, and she failed. Sometimes when we learn, we need to unlearn other things. Now, all of us have grown up in this setup. Which type of a president would you want to remove a president that would transfer power softly, without military? Okay. Do we say that could we cross to a civilian? We are saying that civilians are doing what? They are not going to be able to command the army. Can we say that? Can we have army?
If it is a national army, and if the law is what it is, that the army should be subordinate to civilian authority.
Exactly.
The independence.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the commander in chief is. But also, I'll give you one more minute. Could you respond? Was Mwanje just trying to fearmonger when he mentioned the example of Tripoli, Libya? I mean, but also I think he was only short of examples, but he should have mentioned also maybe Khartoum. So do you think that is that just mere fearmongering, that we have had all these very strong leaders who have sort of presided over, okay, if I'm to use these words, over sort of dynasties, and the way the country ended up? So is it just fear-mongering, or is saying, guys, let us tread slowly and carefully?
That is what we're saying as young people.
As you conclude.
That we don't want to crush Uganda. Let us hand over this power softly to a person we know that there are not going to be troubles in it.
Okay, then who has the mandate to choose?
That is going to be to the people.
To the people of Uganda.
That is why I'm telling them that the person who is there to have this position without any friction is General Kainerugaba, in case appears in the ballot paper.
Okay, fair enough. My last question goes to you, Tracy. And
This nation will never forgive.
you know, the aspect of moving forward, how best is the NRM Youth League organizing to position itself for the next general election, bearing in mind that they're competing largely with NUP, which boasts of being a youth-led institution, but also now the PLU that also says, you know, they are targeting the youth as well. So as the NRM Youth League, what's your strategy towards mobilizing young people?
The NRM Youth League, of course, for a number of terms behind, it has not been conducting elections. People have not been involved. But number one is the structures. I believe for anyone to win an election, structures are key. This is why Museveni has been defeating the NUP, the UID, and which is the DP, because he has structures till the last drop. In every district, in every sub-county, in every parish, he has someone there. So
a committee, in fact.
Yeah, he has a committee. He has a number of people who are there to stand in and be like, I'm campaigning for this person, I'm voting for this person as well. The NRM Youth League, we are using those structures, those systems from the village level. And we are involving youth from the village level such that in all the systems, if NUP is mobilizing, we are also mobilizing the youth and showing them that, yes, we can take on the mantle from the people of a bit upper age.
Yeah.
To the young people. We can also be part of the system. We can also be part of the political spaces. We can also take these opportunities that are there and utilize them. So even if the PLU is coming in, even if the NUP is coming in, we have different ideologies. We have different things we believe in. So as well as the NRM Youth League, we also have different things we believe in and ideologies, and they are the ones we're bringing on table to put Uganda to
A better place.
and to a better place.
Interesting. We have 5 minutes, 4 actually. I'll give you each 60 seconds. Just give us your parting shots, look to the camera, and speak to the young person. Out there, I'll begin with you, Mwanje, as I come towards Ipalat.
Well, it's always a pleasure discussing such matters with the young people. Personally, I am patriotic. Yes, I think I need to correct that.
Then you should join PLU.
Yes, I am patriotic. I don't have to join PLU to prove that I am patriotic. But the most important for me is, let us, as the young generation, as we purport to assert, focus on building independent systems. Democracies that have thrived for years, this is the concept they have attempted to answer internally. Every time you break systems that could support you against certain things, you're heading for failure. So for me, the PLU, I wish them luck. I wish them luck. But the major problem this country has, it is not even about corruption. It is about the breakdown of institutions. It is institutions that breed the corrupt people. Which corrupt people will now be the heads of health institutions, which corrupt people will be the head of infrastructure institutions. And therefore, the country heads into catastrophe. So for whichever force is bringing hope to this country, let that be our major focus. Otherwise, we shall always be old wine in just new bottles.
Yes, Bruno.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to thank Comrade Moses for this great initiative. I'm happy today that I've listened from the people who come on this platform, and I'm very sure that we've all had the contradictory statements coming from my brother and sister who are from the other part, people who are fighting to put down this country. So I'm happy that they contradicted themselves, and if at all you don't cut these videos, please release them the way
it will be aired the way
Thank you
it is.
very much. So, well, I've gotten to know that they know the problem that the country is facing, and well, I would urge them to join us, because now, actually, regardless of political party, the role of the youth right now should be to create a better tomorrow, a better future of Uganda. If at all we can agree on such matters and say, oh, this is wrong and this is right, we shall be far as a nation. But obviously, good enough, the NUP is still on track and doing well. So please join us so that we can fight for our country, because you will not be forgiven in heaven, and your country will not forgive if at all you continue telling lies that are told to you to deliver here. Yes, Comrade Moses, that is mine.
Interesting. Yes, Tracy.
I'm so humbled and so happy to be part of this show. And just to correct my brother, I'm not fighting this nation, but we have different ideologies. But my take is that the NRM party has done something for this country, we have to admit. And if someone comes in to at least correct some things that have gone wrong, they are really not fighting you, but just aiming to the best of the nation. To that, I thank you for this initiative. Thank you so much.
Interesting. Yes,
Thank you so much. Moses, I am so privileged for the invite. To my brothers, it has been a good submission. Not sleeping in the same house that don't mean that we're brothers and sisters. You subscribe where you subscribe because of the ideology you subscribe to. I totally want to disagree with my brother Bruno that it is none of them is contradictory. It's good to know the problems you have and project on what to do with them in future than shifting all your problems to neighbors every time. I will not join NUP, and I think I will not wish to join. I would encourage you because we have taken. You're going to see how Masaka will ask for water. My gratitude goes to my sister. I want to encourage you that all of us, even these fellow young men are in NRM, and they are being raised by NRM. They have benefited. Some of them are UPE products. We want to say that yes, if there is any problem that is coming, we have foreseen and we look up to that Messiah who is going to come and act as Joshua
and revive the dictatorship
to cross us to the promised land. To my brother Moses, I thank you again. MK, for now, a lot of young people admire MK, and I think there is no debate over that. MK, in case it appears anytime in the ballot, we may need to.
So you still MK?
To graduate. The person KMK is Kainerugaba.
So
PLOU. When I talk of PLOU is
don't allow
PLOU is a pressure group that combines all of us. But our head of the pressure group is Kainerugaba, Muhoozi Kainerugaba. We thank you for accepting that there is evolution that is coming, and it's going to give a bit of a big pressure because you people think there is money, but these are people who are following Muhoozi for free. They want him for free.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Ndugu Mwanje. Mr. President Emeritus, thank you. Tracy, Mary, thank you, and of course, Ipalat.
Happy Valentine.
From the PAD, yes, happy
Valentine to
yes, to the viewers, thank you. It's always a pleasure having you every single Wednesday. To wrap it up, I will borrow the words of the Algerian Marxist political philosopher, Frantz Fanon. In his book, Wretched of the Earth, he puts a fundamental question of, every generation must identify its generational mission, and the choice to betray or fulfill it is entirely up to them. Yes. We are a generation, and the future of this country and its burden is bestowed upon our shoulders. Shall we choose to betray it or fulfill it is a question for you and I. Otherwise, have a lovely evening with your Valentine's love dates. To those of you who don't have Valentine's, let's keep hopeful that you will, find someone. But yes, until next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.